This is from the FAA. They call them aircraft-assisted pilot suicides, saying they're rare. They include the November 2013 crash of Mozambique Airlines, a plane bound for Angola, which was eerily similar to the Germanwings plane one. That was Germanwings Flight 9525. That one was so eerie, where that pilot died taking 149 other people with him. He was depressed and flew the plane right into the side of a mountain. That was absolutely awful. He was 27 years old. We know he was determined to kill himself. Okay, and then there's a bunch. Egypt Airlines, you guys mentioned Flight 990 off Nantucket in 1999, killing all 217 people on board, caused by deliberate action, according to the NTSB. In that case, a relief pilot, Gamil al-Batoudi, waited for the captain to leave the cockpit, then disengaged the autopilot. As the plane descended, he could be heard saying in Arabic, "I rely on God," over and over. And there are more. I mean, you could keep going.
Hey, Megyn, real quick, with the Egypt Air, with the Egypt Air mishap. So the captain actually came back from the head or whatever he was doing and saw this going on. He jumped in, pulled back on the control yoke, and he's fighting with the FO, the first officer at the time. And the Boeing at the time, the captain would override the first officer's control inputs. Guess what he did to take the airplane down after that? He reached over and shut the fuel to the engines off. So another instance of that. But let's be clear, Megyn, whether it's the India board, the NTSB, history has shown us that we want to have preliminary reports. Why? Does the flying public want to wait 12 to 18 months to find out why an airliner crashed? No. So they want to compile as much facts as they can, as quickly as they can, as Captain Steve alluded to. If there was something going on in these brand new 787 airliners where just magically the fuel switches go to cutoff, they would be freaking the hell out right now. They're not. Mm-hmm. I'll support Patrick a little bit and say, of course, there's all sorts of, slim to none possibilities going on here. But all the evidence is pointing in this direction. And, Megyn, it sounds like we're going to talk about mental health stuff here in a little bit. But
let me tell you what the reporting is on that. Okay, the Daily Telegraph is reporting the following, that Captain Mohan Ranganathan, a leading aviation safety expert in India, has revealed that, quote, several Air India pilots had allegedly confirmed that this experienced pilot had suffered from poor mental health. The captain we're talking about here is Sumit Sabharwal, the one, he's now dead, age 56, who we are speculating may have brought down this plane. So this other captain is saying that he's spoken with several Air India pilots who allegedly confirmed to him that this pilot had suffered from poor mental health. Speaking to the Daily Telegraph, he claimed, quote, he had taken time off from flying in the last 3 to 4 years. He had taken medical leave for that. This captain is understood to have taken bereavement leave after the death of his mother. Again, this is from the Daily Telegraph, though it's believed by this man doing the reporting, a different captain, Ranganathan, that he'd been medically cleared by Air India prior to the fatal crash. The Telegraph said that while Air India declined to comment, an official working with their parent company, Tata Group, told the publication that Captain Sabharwal, the guy at issue, had not taken any medical leave, with the preliminary report failing to obtain any significant findings. They added that within the last 2 years, both pilots on board the flight had passed the Class 1 medical exam, which makes an evaluation of their psychophysical capabilities. Unfortunately, some of those other pilots in the cases that we just went over also passed their exams and were not identified as having mental problems, but they clearly did. Your thoughts on that, guys?
Well, Megyn, we just went out with a video about mental and emotional health, and I interviewed Dr. Charlie Carreri, who's really the pioneer in this field. He's the guy responsible for, it's at least at American Delta United and Southwest, their programs that are in place where pilots can go self-report without any fear of incrimination or losing their jobs, which is hugely important because there's a big stigma with mental health. And I think that's the direction that all of this is going, is to sit and talk about what's the mental health issues with pilots. And it's a very stressful job, and you have to balance on the road with at home. And those two things don't always go together very well for people that travel all the time. And then there's the stress and the responsibility that goes with the job. So I think there's never a bad time to have that conversation about mental health. Certainly now, this is kind of a springboard into having that conversation. And it's certainly one I think that's important to have.
Hey, Megyn, a quick update with the Germanwings. They actually knew. A lot of his doctors knew, but apparently the German medical system, it's, to steal a phrase, it's verboten. Those two systems weren't allowed to talk. In Germany, apparently, you could say I'm absolutely nuts and suicidal, I'm going to crash an airliner. The doctors were forbidden from telling whatever the German FAA is about any of this. Oh, yeah, trust me. After that, I think they've hopefully made some changes in the German system. But at the time, that all the doctors, after it came out, they had to shrug their shoulders and say,
that thing was so disturbing.
We're bound by law not to do that. Yep.
That thing was so disturbing, and it was very clear in that case that it was a murder-suicide.
Correct.
Like my husband and I have, as one does in gallows humor, made jokes about it. I'm down here at the Jersey Shore for the summer, and we always take our kids to this amusement park at least once a summer. And there's one of those rides, the Scrambler, at this amusement park. And there's something crazy about this particular Scrambler. It goes to like a gear that you've never seen before, where you really feel like you're going to be flung right off the coast of New Jersey into the ocean. And one time, like one of the first times I ever rode it, I looked at my husband and our kids, and I tried to get a look at the guy operating it. And I said to my husband, Doug, I'm like, gee, he's like the German pilot. This is it. You're like, it's fun. It's gallows humor. But like, there are people who are extremely sick. And that's what's so disturbing about this is one thing if you're sick and you commit suicide. But if that's what happened here, we're talking about a mass serial killer. Same thing with MH370. Like, you're beyond suicidal. You're one of the worst homicidal maniacs in world history. We're talking about hundreds of murders in an instant, which, to your point, Patrick, is why we should be cautious before completely throwing this captain under the bus.
And by the way, as Steve alluded to, airlines, regulators, the pilots' unions, at least in the U.S., we've come a long way. There's a lot of, I guess you could call it proactivity now towards self-reporting and being open and upfront about mental health issues to keep trouble from being driven underground, where it could cause some sort of accident or something awful. That being said, I mean, there are people with mental health issues in every line of work, from surgeons, police officers, airline pilots, whomever. It's very important to emphasize here, very important that having a mental health issue, having even depression, does not turn you into a psychopathic mass murderer.
Right.
For that to happen, there has to be something else going on.
Yes.
What it is, I don't know. How is that diagnosed? How is that discovered? How do we know who those outliers are?
What do you do? Like when you get on board the plane, when you guys fly commercially, my friend, I mentioned this before, my friend, she's always giving the pilots boxes of chocolates. I'm like, yeah, Al, that's not going to save you. Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they're moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your own personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. OMG. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by buying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold extremely easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898, and Birch Gold will send you a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.